What?
Sorry, bud.
Oh, Daddy, you hurt me.
Well, what did you think? It was really hard to navigate past you.
It's comfort now.
Oh, I just stood on my dog's tail.
I don't sweat. I have a medical condition.
Oh.
Oh.
Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben.
And I'm Kay.
Today we are reviewing... What are we reviewing?
We're reviewing Netflix's original series called Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich. Survivors worldwide reveal the manipulation, abuse, and emotional scars suffered at the hands of wealthy convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Their stories expose a sex trafficking ring of powerful enablers leading up to his 2019 arrest.
Netflix's original documentary series has 4 episodes. I have to say, Netflix's docs of late have been really interesting to watch. Mm-hmm. I say interesting because the documents, the topics and the genres they have within are normally quite dark. Although a lot of the time the topics they choose are very interesting. Tiger King was a phenomenal series. Very, very binge-worthy. But the topics within were just dark and weird. I particularly liked Tiger King because it was just weird.
The monsters are still out there.
I thought this documentary was very well put together. I thought the way that although they were jumping between times and what they chose to do is they actually showed chronologically the investigation and then followed the times where that took them. So from the very first allegations right through to when he was eventually arrested in 2019.
Yeah.
They followed that story but had to jump back and forwards in time all over the place to gather all the threads together, which I thought they did really well.
Yeah, I think it's a very well put together documentary series. I'm pleased to see James Patterson's name behind it, and he actually appears. He's been interviewed a couple of times, so I believe it's between Netflix and him and one other kind of company that have brought together and kind of telling the story that I feel like needs to be told.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate the way this kind of story has kind of ended, although not really. And so these ladies get their time in the light for their stories to be told, and that for me is the fruition of the story, because sometimes you kind of have to ask, what is this actually doing? Who does this benefit?
Yeah.
In the back of my mind I was like, really hope that this doesn't benefit those people in any way, because it's sometimes themes like this or stories like this can glorify the content of what's going on.
But clarify who you mean by those people.
The people,
offenders.
The offenders.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the victims.
No,
Okay.
that'd be great. The people that have a lot of money that always are never seeming to be touched because they have so much money. And so this doc does touch on that a lot, that there are such powerful people out there that they are above the law. And that is just the world we live in. I think everybody kind of knows that now. Sometimes human beings get lucky and the law kind of coincides with that luck, and we get to see some people being taken down, and that is great.
Yeah.
But injustice is just in the world we live, and we see that. The more I watched as each episode went on, the darker it got, unfortunately, because you realize just how vast this ring of nastiness, Epstein's involvement with these young ladies, but not even that. We're talking about very high up people that are involved, and you can say, well, they weren't because they said they weren't, but at the end of this doc, it sure does look like that they were. There is also one line which I had to giggle, that there was these people that were kind of said, yeah, these people were on this island with Epstein at this point, and then the next line was, oh, but there was no real proof of that. So it was just like this little Netflix line covering themselves, which I did giggle at, because I bet that one line kind of protects them from being sued by
all sorts of very powerful, very rich people.
Which I thought, okay, is probably smart. And the lawyers were going, because some of the stuff in here is just shocking. And I know the world we live in, but sometimes you see it in front of you and you're like, oh yeah, this is the world we live in.
Yeah, but it's like, you can't believe that this sort of thing happens, but it does, and it's still happening, and it happens all over the world. And I mean, there's here in the UK, there's a huge problem with sex trafficking. With brothels and stuff that, you probably find there's at least one in our neighbourhood. In our nice middle-class neighbourhood, there's probably somewhere that you could get someone to do stuff for you, which obviously I know nothing about, but you know, absolutely,
Does
it
happen.
haunts me that it happens, and that we just kind of go, well, you know, it happens. Well, we should do something about it. I also want to say, as a proviso, that actually, although this is a documentary and it's set out as a factual document, you know, in video format, it is told predominantly from one side. So I would love to believe that Netflix have done thorough, in-depth, like FBI level, better than FBI
Well, the FBI
level.
level didn't do so well.
Exactly. So better than FBI level investigation before putting this whole thing together, and that what they've presented is actually factual. However, it is told from one side, and so there are always two sides to every story. But what they've presented is very damning towards Jeffrey Epstein and his associates. So,
I mean, we know
Yeah.
now that Harvey Weinstein did do those things, and so seeing those names linked together, Epstein, Weinstein, Bill Gates.
Not Bill Gates. Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Oh, yes, you did.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
he did. And a certain prince.
Yes.
Yeah.
How embarrassing.
Yes. So I'm sweating, am I?
You are, actually.
Yes. Mom. Yeah. So it was very interesting to keep watching. I do think that they could have chucked a whole episode out, if I'm honest. I think they did drag the story somewhat. There did seem to be interviews that they could have chopped and made shorter. They could have been at a faster pace. I understood what they were trying to do. They're trying to allow the woman the time and space needed to say what they needed to do. So you had a lot of that. But in between that, they felt like there was a lot of padding. I think the pacing, that's just on a creative documentary storytelling way. Then instead of 4, we could have done 3. That's not to say there wasn't information in every single episode worth watching, because there was, and it's very riveting for the most time. There's no action sequences or anything like that in this doc, but the story, horrific though it is interesting to see. Like, you want to know the outcome, so it's put together that way.
Totally.
Yes, I think if you enjoy watching docs as a creative standpoint, you're going to enjoy it. Although I think it was about the 3rd episode, I was like, wow, this is heavy going, man. I don't know how much more of this I can take, so you may want to do it in bite-sized chunks.
Yeah, maybe take a break halfway.
Yep.
Yeah. I also want to say I think it was very clever the way they put it together, because when you first hear about his alleged crimes, they almost seem not so bad. And that's what I said to you at the time. It was like, you know, someone might turn around and say, oh, come on, girl, why are you so upset? He didn't even rape you. Like, you know, why are you making such a big deal out of this? But as you go further along and you realise how it's impacted these women, regardless of whether he actually penetrated her or not, that affected her psychologically in such a traumatic way that it's totally changed the outcome of her life.
Yeah.
And so that should be taken into account. But then also, as you go deeper and deeper in further episodes, you begin to realise just how bad it is. And I think if they had presented that initially, we all would have gone, what? Are you kidding me? No way. That's not true. You know, jog on.
But they build it up.
They do.
Like, almost like enough credential, enough truth, like they're building a case, basically.
Yeah. Which is what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, also on that kind of, it's interesting the way we think, oh, well, this is actually an assault worthy of being in, and even our mindset of that has changed over the years. I was watching how they presented it, and it goes back from early 90s to 2020. And in between them, we had the hashtag Me Too movement, which has been fantastic to give women mostly, not just women, but mostly women, the platform to come forward and just can say, hey, this is my story.
Yeah.
At the same time, I feel like because of that, we've changed almost in mindset, and it's exactly what it needed to do, to give that platform, and so now put certain stories in the limelight which weren't in the limelight before. Then now that's almost giving the people that didn't do justice an excuse, and they shouldn't get one. But because we have that now, it feels like there's been a shift almost in the atmosphere, and people can't get away with as much. I'm sure they do. So people obviously still get away with stupid stuff that they do.
Bad stuff.
But I feel like hopefully there is more of a platform for people that do get assaulted to come forward, and we will hopefully listen, especially with the media and technology being the way it is. You know, it's
Yeah.
there's
I mean, it's
a
still,
lot that's hidden, that's unhidden.
yeah, it still saddens me that there's more media coverage for the one example that we have, I think, in the UK, where a young woman implicated a man for having sexually assaulted her, and it turns out she was mentally unwell and nothing had happened, yet he went to prison and his whole life was ruined, and he lost his job and he lost his family and all of that stuff. And that was like huge in the media, like, you know, you shouldn't believe every woman who comes forward because some of them are just crazy. And I thought, oh man.
Yeah, that one wrong thing now will set back. Yeah, I hope that's not the case, because that would be really sad. Yeah. Anyway, this doc was good.
Got us talking.
Yeah, in the way that it opened our eyes a little bit more, unfortunately, to what nastiness is out there. And it does make me sad that there are people behind the scenes that won't get taken down. There were definitely more people in that world of Epstein that were helping Epstein, involved in his world, and I'm sure there's a lot more darkness there. But at least some of it has kind of been resolved, and those women have got their due moment.
A little bit of closure, maybe, but not
Kind of.
know.
Yeah.
Well, at least their story has been told.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, thanks for listening to us talk about this. Let us know in the comments what you thought, whether you believe the documentary is accurate. Have they done their job? Have you been following the case, like, for how many years, however it's been going on? And what do you think about all the stuff that's been put in there? Do you think they should have done a better job at showing the other side? Or do you think it has done, it's just desserts?
Do you think it's like crazy biased or not? I don't know. It's hard to tell.
I think it's always going to be biased no matter who you are, because you have a bias. You're a human, so if you're a filmmaker, you're going to have some sort of bias. But let us know. Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember,
Live long and Tuesday.